Today I'm at a car, truck, and tractor show. It's put on by the Ashland County Yesteryear Machinery Club, and that's in Ashland County, Ohio.
Did you make all that wonderful stuff?
Yes, sir.
That's awesome. That's pretty incredible. So you're using regular gas?
Yeah, spark ignition. The 302 has a full pressure oil system, complete cooling through the block and the heads and the manifold. It's 1/3 scale. I took a full-size engine and scaled it down to 1/3.
Yeah. You copy the castings and scale them down?
It's all from bar stock, no casting.
So you machined it all?
Yeah.
Where do you get the spark?
I make them.
Do you make them?
Yeah. So the story behind spark plugs for model engines is in the 30s and 40s, the model airplanes, the flying model airplanes had spark plugs. They had points on the engine and batteries, and at that time batteries were. So when glow plugs came out, Champion and AC made plugs for model engines. So when the glow plugs came out, the market dried up because nobody used them anymore. So the last you could get commercial plugs was probably, in the mid-50s. And I got into internal combustion engines. I built a whole bunch of hit and miss engines, probably starting in the early 70s. So you had to make all your own plugs. Then in the mid-90s, a company called Rimfire started making, now you could get like NGKs, a small plug, but they wouldn't fit any of these. So then Rimfire came out with them, but yeah, I make all my own plugs. That one, that's a 1/4 turn 2 thread for the flathead. That's Corian countertop material.
No shit.
Yeah, it takes the heat and it's a good insulator. So what I do is So what I do is I machine the base, and then I have this little flange here that's about 7,000 sticks. So then I turn the Corian in cylinder. I thought I had it. And then the insulator gets bigger beyond this.
Okay.
So then I put the insulator in, and I have a little fixture that comes down and crimps it over and holds it in place. So you can make them all different sizes, like that little Ford 306 there. That's the plug that goes in that. They work fine. They don't short or anything. The problem is, when they get so small, with gasoline, you can foul them real easy. A lot of guys that build engines that small run them on propane. The problem with propane and a throttling engine is when you accelerate it, it's hard to get the propane demand valve to keep up with it. They're good for hit and miss engines that run at a constant speed. So I run all my stuff on pump gas and
Where are you from?
Strongsville.
Dan Ford.
This is the front of his picture book for the flathead V8 engine. Pause the video if you want to read it.
They have a show there and a car show and what have you. And then I go out to Wellington for the LaGrange drinking show. Oh yeah.
All these parts are machined out of a solid piece of stock. That's a lot of work there. There's the head with cooling fins, some connecting rods. There's the camshaft. Try to make one of those. Some valves. And look, he made a scale-sized spring compressor.
I just bought a Stover.
Gears. And there's the crankshaft.
Not enough time to work on it.
The radiator with all the cooling tubes. Here's a picture of the top tank being machined. And that's what it turned out to be after handwork and polishing. This book has pictures of this transmission. He said he made this fit that blue Ford 302 engine he was running, and it's fully functional, of course. This is a model of a road grader he used to drive by. He talks about it later in this video. The scale is 1 inch per foot. He said this rear end matches the 302 Ford engine and transmission. He does good work. Look at the detail there. This 6-cylinder is smaller than the others. Check out that gas pedal. Okay, I gotta try this to make sure. If I turn the pinion, only one axle turns. And if I turn this axle, the other end turns the opposite way. So that's a fully functioning differential. That's awesome. He said that ring and pinion made of plastic was to make sure his machine setup was right before he made the real one.
Okay, so the first thing you would do would be to set the grade. So these, you can go down on one side and tilt the blade, or you can, you know, if you were doing so you would set the blade to the grade. Then the next thing you would do is, you know, set how you were scraping it. So this is a lock lever that goes down here that locks that. So the operator would unlock that, then he would stand on this with his foot and turn the blade. Then you get it to where you want it, you lock it back up. So then, because the wheels didn't have treads on them, even just a one ring was called a tread. So there was no tread, so if you were towing it that way, it would want to push the machine that. So what they did was, you would tilt the wheels, front and rear, and so as it's pushing that way, the wheels would dig in and keep it from slewing sideways. So then they had another feature. You could offset the machine from the axle, like if you were cutting a ditch or something. So this, if you watch this little piece here or there, you'll see you can see, so that offsets the machine from the axle center line. So you could shift it either left or right. So then there's another adjustment. You got another crank handle here, which runs another gearbox, and you can move the whole blade assembly left and right. It pivots up at the top here. Then, like I say, you can tilt the front wheels. Then you can also move the tongue. You can offset that to shift the front of. I was never a grader operator, so you know.
Learned all that.
This is a model of a 1913 Galleon. Originally it was horse-drawn, and it's a huge machine. So it was either mules or, and it had to be a double team because it was a big machine. This is 1 inch to the foot. So the big one, which is up northeast of here, is 17 foot long, and it's solid steel. So then somewhere along the line, they converted it to be pulled by a tractor or a bulldozer. And then when the motor graders came out, a fella bought it from the township for his collection. About 12 years ago, 15 years ago, he took ill and he donated it back to Homerville, just north of that. And they built a concrete pad and put it out there. So I would drive by going to my buddy's place, and I would think, boy, I'd make a neat model. So
You got started, huh?
yeah, I went and took all the dimensions and photographs, and I made drawings, and I built it. But everything had to work on it. That was so you know, all those little U joints and gearboxes and
Bevel gears are pretty
bevel
nice.
gears.
Those are small.
In here there's worm gears, and here there's a big gear with a worm that you know controls the blade.
What a piece, George. Oh my gosh. So how long did you spend on that?
With the
Of course you
drawings and everything, $1,200.
Guess you were late for supper once in a while, weren't you?
Well, my shop's in the basement, so I don't have far
Far
to
to
go.
go. I like the rear ends.
Is this a
pretty neat.
49 inch?
Yeah.
He does all this manual too.
That's all I got this time. Just something you might see at your local tractor show. Alright, that's it.